An upside-down plane flew through the sky. Both of its engines had failed, and there were over 100 passengers on board. To land safely, the captain used every bit of his training, but during the emergency landing, the plane hit a church. Then it crashed straight into the grass. While unconscious, the captain vaguely saw someone pulling him out. Many passengers were also rescued safely. Luckily, the fuel he had dumped earlier prevented the plane from exploding. It was a blessing in disguise. When the captain woke up again, he found the news of the plane crash on TV. Airline Senior Officer White told him, out of 102 people on board, 96 survived. He said it's your brilliant moves that saved them from death. The media ran with the story, calling him a national hero. When the captain returned home, the first thing he did was pour out all the alcohol in his house. Though the crash was caused by mechanical failure, he believed his drinking played a part in it. He thought if he hadn't been drinking, those 6 people won't die. So he decided to quit drinking and start fresh. But trouble came knocking fast. His lawyer informed him that the hospital found alcohol in his blood. The level was over the legal limit, enough to count as drunk driving, let alone flying a plane. If investigators linked the deaths to his drinking, he could face 150 years in prison. The captain broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't want to live with that kind of shame, but as he looked at the plane's wreckage, he sank into deep thought. After all, he couldn't ignore his connection to those 6 lives. The lawyer tried to comfort him, saying he had already done so much. Without his bold movements, far more than 6 would have died. Meanwhile, the airline also didn't want the captain to face charges. If he was convicted, the company would have to pay an enormous settlement. That's when the lawyer suggested hiding the captain's drinking and shift the blame to the plane's manufacturer. It would solve both problems at once. First, they needed to get rid of the captain's alcohol report. For a company as powerful as the airline, this was a piece of cake. The lawyer argued the hospital's breathalyzer was outdated, and the previous report was ruled invalid. Next, the captain approached the head attendant and co-pilot, asking them to keep quiet about his drinking. Neither of them wanted to agree, but they knew it was the captain's actions that had saved their lives. After much pleading, they both promised to keep his secret. It seemed like the problem was solved, but then bad news came in. Investigators had found 2 empty liquor bottles in the plane's wreckage. Now it was all falling apart.